So what's going on, everybody? It's the Super Robot, and today we're going to talk about 11 figures that should have never been released as a store exclusive. Now, when these companies release these figures as store exclusives, there's usually an agreement between them and the store. The store knows that, hey, people are going to come in and buy these characters, so we'll go ahead and buy, the stock of your Thundercracker and Skywarp, for example, when we were in War for Cybertron. Now, the only way to get that in the United States was through Target. In the case of the other figures, you had to get them through Amazon, or the worst place to ever shop for exclusives, Walmart, if you know what I mean. And we're going to have a current situation again in the new Age of Primes line, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But we're going to talk about these 11 figures, and then we're going to wrap up. It's going to be a slightly long video because I ain't got nothing to do today but run my mouth. You can skip through whatever you want. We're going to start with Dirge and Ramjet. So we know that the Coneheads, even though they're like the B team of the Seekers, they're still the Coneheads Season 2, even though they're just repaints and remolds of the original Seekers. The fact that they were Coneheads and they were treated a little bit differently as like an underdog team, it was a lot of fun for people. So at the end of the day, if you were collecting G1 and you pretty much had, Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Starscream, then your next move is going to be Thrust, Dirge, and Ramjet. Now, I know a lot of people didn't get all three. Most people I knew who had them as a kid had the aces, if you want to call them. But to get the elites here, some people had maybe Dirge, some people had Ramjet, some people had Thrust. But either way, being a G1 collector, especially when you know that these figures are going to come out, you know you're going to want to complete your collection that you couldn't complete as a kid. So yeah, Dirge, Ramjet, Thrust, those are definite givens. But with the Amazon release of Dirge and Ramjet, those pre-orders were taken from people. I pre-ordered mine, and people who pre-ordered theirs only just a few days later actually either had their pre-order canceled, pushed back, and they never actually got the figures. And the aftermarket for these two, until they re-released them in the current line, was just ridiculous, and I really felt for collectors. Next is Thrust. Now, Thrust, I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I ever saw him in the wild. And I went to Target like every other weekend. I finally broke down and I spent $50 to get Thrust from a seller on eBay, because basically they weren't going to make any money off of it anyway. But just the fact that I had to still pay more always sets bad for me. And yes, we are currently waiting for Thrust, which as right now, the aftermarket Thrust is going for an astronomical price. Now we're going to start to the first exclusive. Yes, I call him the first one. And it was none other than Chug Thundercracker. Now, yes, this wasn't a store exclusive. It was even worse, a BotCon exclusive. And not to mention that in the Chug line, the only Seeker that was available in the stores were, at that time, in 06, 07, Ramjet. And if you were lucky to find him, Starscream, because Skywarp was a Target exclusive. But we'll talk about that later. Thundercracker was a polarizing character for a long time until he got re-released in Henkei and then got re-released in Generations during the Chug era, because the only way to get Thundercracker was BotCon. People were paying $200 to $300 for just a Thundercracker. And there was a limited supply on top of that. So people were buying KOs left and right to fill the void. And even to this day, there's this discrepancy about the color, because they never produced that color again. Same thing happened in War for Cybertron. There was a lot of spoken for figures. Now, these weren't as bad, but Thundercracker and Skywarp were very hard to get for a lot of people because of the fact that it was a Target exclusive in America, and I think a Toys R Us exclusive in Canada, and then I guess worldwide it was just released regular. But still, it was a slap in the face. But over to Skywarp. The Skywarp actually edged out Thundercracker because of the fact that there's one that you probably will not ever see again. Now, as we know, this Skywarp, the original release in Chug days, was a Target exclusive along with the white repaint of Chug Optimus Prime, which was known as Ultra Magnus. This one wasn't as bad to get on the aftermarket, but at one point until they released him, yeah, he would still cost you around $50 to $60. Not comparably how Thundercracker was $200 to $300. And of course, Skywarp again was also released because he was a 2-pack with Thundercracker, and a lot of people had a little bit of a hard time to get him, but they did and other places get a few of him. Like I think they wind up getting released with some of the in limited supply with other retailers like Amazon and things like that. So for a while, you didn't have to go through the aftermarket, but for now, you still got it. But the worst one, I mean the absolute worst one, was Siege Skywarp. And in a way, with Skywarp being, I don't say lesser of the three, because I think him and Thundercracker are equally the same. But the fact that they chose Skywarp and added all these extra characters to him with the extra Micro Masters, the Weapon Masters, whatever they call it, made him an attractive bonus. And once people realized he was never going to be released again, except in Japan, it's the Karatomi Mall exclusive. If you didn't get him that way, currently you are asked out. And this is an example of why I hate when they use a main character as a store exclusive, because if you did not pick this up, right now you're looking to spend anywhere between at least 3 to 5 to 6 times the price it originally was, which was $49.99 or $50. And that was just a very bad thing. But it only gets worse because we know over here Mr. Bumblebee never got a true release until Studio Series 86. That's right. If you wanted this Bumblebee at one point, if they did not decide to make that Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, you would have been paying way more money for this guy than he is now. Now he's down to about $30-$35. And at one point he was going for as high as $150. This is the only way to get a classics looking Bumblebee in the War for Cybertron. It is what it is. I still think it's a great figure, but Studio Series 86 is, to me, a little better. Now we get to Ironhide and Ratchet. And Ironhide came in a pack with Prowl, which we'll see a little later on. And currently for Ironhide and Prowl 2-pack was an Amazon exclusive. If you got them, you were good. If not, it went as high as $255 to $300 for the 2-pack. And now with them releasing the Studio Series 86 Ironhide, the price of him may have come down. I don't probably get back to that. Same thing happened with Ratchet. Ratchet was even more valuable without Lifeline. Like literally, if you bought him with Lifeline, you had a better chance of getting him for a cheaper price. I think this was the worst one because a lot of people did jump on this pre-order, and Amazon was just like, nah, we ain't got enough. So I don't want to hear anybody telling me no. It was definitely store stock. And that's another issue because now, like again, if we didn't know that we were going to get an SS86 Ratchet, a lot of people would have still been running crazy looking for that one. And Prowl. As of this taping, we have not gotten any inklings of a Prowl other than the dead one. So it's now been 4 years and still no word of an actual Studio Series 86 alive Prowl. And it's not, I will tell you right now, this figure is one of the ones that's in my list that burns me up very, very bad. Probably more worse than Blue Streak, but we're not going to talk about Blue Streak. Then there's Cosmos. Now, no other way to get Cosmos. There's no other deco until the re-release, or if you get the whatever that pack is where they got like the GoBot version, Pathfinder, where he's painted blue. Bruh, this should never happen, man. This thing got scalped the minute it was announced. And when I say scalped, I'm talking about before it even got in the store. In some instances, people were already paying double, triple. And I mean, this is an example of definitely no, please, God, no, do not do this again, right? And you'd think they would learn because, hey, they just released Cosmos, but nope. Here comes Sea Spray. Now we're using the Titans Return Sea Spray because that would probably look closer to what we're going to get in the, because we haven't seen it yet. But G1 Sea Spray as a Walmart exclusive after we just went through what we went through with Cosmos. No other way to get Sea Spray but at Walmart. Do you realize how idiotic that is? You just went through that with Cosmos. How are you going to, you know what I'm saying? You know collectors are going to get upset. You know collectors are going to go like, not again. So then now we got to wait 2 more years because trying to deal with Walmart is just, I'm sorry. I don't even like buying stuff from Walmart. That's how bad I detest Walmart. I've not been in a Walmart in almost a year. I avoid Walmart like the plague. Even with the Velocitron, whatever, man, I just got it online. I refuse to step foot in a Walmart. I just can't do it. I can't deal with Walmart. So imagine trying to hunt for Sea Spray when everybody else is trying to hunt for sea spray, and when everybody else in the back is probably trying to get a sea spray because they can figure they could sell it or whatever they could do with it. At the end of the day, this is bad. And I think that Hasbro needs to rethink this. Yeah, if this was like a special color, a special repaint, yeah, go for it. But then again, who's want to buy and repaint? They already did that, and I don't think that was selling. But man, sea spray, woo! A lot of people not gonna like that one. So I just hope that Hasbro gets the message and continues to get the message to stop putting main characters in these store exclusives because it doesn't do us any good. So what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below. I know a lot of people are going to be mad about sea spray. So am I. But this is Super Robot Ed, bringing more news reviews to them. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.